Linda and Erica, I'm always excited to see a mother-daughter team make a deep run into the race. So I was rooting for you all season. I'm really sad to see you go out now, but how are you feeling today?
Thanks. I know at least we made it kind of far, more than most of your mother and daughter teams you get to cheer on.
It's true, not
But
since
it was definitely,
season one, I think.
yeah. And that mom was 20 years younger than my mom. So I am really, really proud of her and our run. And obviously not the way we wanted to go out. But when you look at there was 14 teams to six, like, and the all-female team last, and my mom the oldest contestant, we're really proud and happy with just our season and our run.
So let's talk a little bit about this final leg because there were several points where I thought they might actually rally. And then I kept going back to the cab and I kept thinking, but they took a cab. So they could rally, they could beat Han and Holden to the mat,
Yeah.
but they took a cab. Did you ever get any indication of how much of a penalty you would have gotten?
Yeah, Phil mentioned at the mat that we had taken the cab and we probably would have had a 30-minute penalty for each cab, which was 4. So it would have been, so as much as we caught up on some stuff.
In reality, we were very far behind, even though we made it seem interesting based off the penalties.
Even though
Yeah,
we saw Han and Holden at the mat with Phil, we weren't that far behind, but
Yeah.
yeah, it did. I heard you on the episode say there's Han and Holden, so I thought, oh, they're right there. They're right in it.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think the tab, as terrible as it is to say, in reality, my mom probably couldn't have kept up, like running. There was teams running that whole leg of the race. Like that was a lot for her to kind of keep up with. And so we were clearly going to be, this was our leg to go either way. And I think taking the taxis almost helped us a little just because it gave my mom that moment to crush it at the dance and really give us like a full experience of enjoyment. Even though at the end it was heartbreaking to hear. It kind of like, it was a high moment, I think, for my mom to kind of crush that roadblock and have that experience. So we're happy that she had the legs left to do that.
Yeah, it seems like you really had a great attitude going through the whole race. It really was about the experience for you, even though you were very competitive. Um, so at the cipher task,
Oh,
I have to ask about this because, I know that your whole cast, they're just like a big family. You all love each
yes.
other, but what was going through your head when Han and Holden just kind of took off and stopped working with you?
Yeah, we didn't realize that until last night. And so
Mm,
it was a little
Mhm.
bit like, oh my God, a little bit hard, but yet you understand it's a game. And we were very grateful that Holden did say, well, we just need to tell him or whatever. So we were grateful for that pass because who knows, we might have had a fill eliminator right there.
Yeah, it could have been a filmation. Yeah, I think, well, obviously, like my mom said, we didn't know that they had kind of partnered up then. And in reality, I don't think it mattered. They both had flipped it over before us. So, like, at that point, I think at first, before we realized Jack and Carson had left, we're like, wait, tell us more. And then we're like, oh, Jack and Carson left. Yeah, they shouldn't have told us anything. So, like, we were really grateful. Holden even helped us out. And like you said, our whole cast is really like a family and just we all like wanted each other to succeed yet also wanted to win, so it was just a hard thing that way as well, but we're grateful they even came back to help us.
yeah. So you worked with other teams quite a bit over the course of the race, and I would love to hear a little bit more about your philosophy on that. Do
Mhm.
you think do you think there's like an underrated strategic element to working with other teams on the race?
That was my whole strategy.
Hmm.
I knew so Jeff and I really bonded. I finished like on the first leg of realizing like both of us are really big brother fans. And this season of the race really tailored, I actually think, well for my mom and I, and me being a little more strategic in that sense. Because having a twist every leg of the race, I wanted every team to be like, well, no one cares about Melinda and Erica, or we just love them as people and they're not going to beat us anyways. So like, who cares? Because every time there was a twist, it benefited us. And so I always wanted to be the team that if we had the opportunity, we would help someone because I knew there was going to come a point that whether we were in a roadblock or a detour or something, like maybe my mom couldn't do it. Like even during coconuts, Jeff tried to give us coconuts. Like Jeff and Pops were like, hey, like, can we just get an extra load and take them for you? And they wouldn't let them. But I knew there was going to be moments like that, that as soon as we could help someone, we were going to need help to go along to the next legs of the race. We didn't have a guy on our team. We're an all-female team, and my mom was the oldest in the cast, and she can kind of explain she was injured and stuff like that too. And so my whole strategy really was to be like, everyone kind of feel pity for us and help us as we keep like skirting along the way and making it one leg at a time.
Yeah, so Melinda, tell us a little bit about the extent of the injuries, because we saw hints of it, but I don't think, like, I've interviewed so many teams that come in here and then they just have this long list of like, here's all the stuff I was contending with that you didn't get to see.
Yeah, so I'm competitive, and so being old was already a mental thing for me, going, oh, I want to keep up, and I can't keep up with everybody. But 6 months before, I had fallen from the attic and I had broke my heel and didn't walk for 8 weeks. And then 2 months after that, I was totaled in a car accident and had injured my spine. My right hip was in a lot of pain, and I was in physical therapy, I think, trying to walk. So I was up to about a mile. I wore a little backpack with 10 pounds the last about the month that we knew, and just trying to get back in. So I wasn't up to any physical health that I normally am in. So it really played into my mind of really dragging Erica down, going, I'm keeping her behind, I'm keeping her behind. And so I'm ADHD too. So as she can tell you, I out of the race, I couldn't read the clues. We found out my vision was also affected from the car accident that I wasn't aware of. So when I couldn't read stuff and see stuff very good, it put more onto her. So then I would kind of like, okay, let's go. But I didn't
It was so funny. Every time I would rip and read a clue, so like, you know how there's like the clue and then the additional details. So like you have to read the actual clue, but then usually you stay and like read the additional details. As soon as I read it, she was gone. Like it was like, doesn't matter what direction we are running because we are already behind, because she just obviously always thought we were. And you see actually a couple times in the I'm like, just stop running. Like there's literally no one chasing us right now. Like just let me read. But it was usually me running and reading the additional clues, trying to kind of catch up to her sprint off to some direction.
But I've also heard that ADHD can be kind of a superpower on the race.
Oh, I've got tons of energy and I can go, 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 but it just made me go, go, go sometimes more than what she was ready for.
Yeah. Hers isn't like a lock-in focus one. Hers is like a on to the next task is all that matters ADHD.
Yeah, I can see where there's always a next thing on the Amazing Race. I can see where this could be useful. But tell me a little bit about your journey, like getting to the Amazing Race. Like, what was your background at the show? You've mentioned that you were a big CBS reality fan, Erica. So were you the person that really pushed to try out for the show?
Yeah, kind of. So when I was younger, my mom was actually a huge Amazing Race person. And so we watched it as a family because of her. And so we've always kind of watched The Amazing Race from when we were younger. And then I started watching Big Brother when I was in college because someone was like, you would win this. And I was like, let me watch. And so as a, just watching all the shows, we actually had people, and I had a couple of different friends that had met my mom and seen like our dynamic. And it wasn't portrayed as well actually in the race. We usually fight a lot. But we're both extremely competitive. Like our family playing game nights, things like that. Like it is very ruthless. And so people have actually told us, I've had a few different friends be like, you and your mom would be really good at the race. Like you guys would do really good. Cause I think everyone would underestimate my mom. And then we also usually bicker a lot. So like, you guys should do it. And that was what spurred me to be like, you know what, let's just try. And so here we are.
That's now I'm sad because I feel like it's always fun to see the teams that get into it with each other, but you didn't actually, they weren't like leaving this on the cutting room floor. You just got along really well.
I think the times that we bickered were more when the cameras weren't like catching it. Does that make sense? Like my mom would just be like, during the coconuts, we actually bickered a lot more and stuff like that. Just when she was like overly exhausted, it was different kind of bickering for us. I think it was just me yelling at her to be calm and she being like, we have to move on to the next thing. So it missed a few of those, I think. But beyond that, we were really impressed with how well we got along, and really we're like, we have a common goal and we both want to win. So apparently winning brings us together if we're on the same team.
Is there anything that you learned about each other while you were on the race that you didn't know before?
I'm not sure is anything new. I I've always known she's capable. I know she's incredible in that aspect. She does like her downtime a little bit, like we're in the room, and that was a little hard. It's like, well, I'm like, okay, let's whatever. And she's like, I'm done. So, but it was just amazing to be able to spend that time together that we don't normally have.
Yeah, I think for me, I always knew my mom is like an extreme energizer bunny. Like people are always like, Erica, you're exhausting. You talk so much. And I'm like, you should meet my mom. Like she's 6 times worse. But I think for me, the craziest thing that happened that I was like, oh wow, is a couple of times like when I wanted to help somebody or not necessarily help someone or like not do the U-turn at first because I was questioning it. Like I'm definitely the more cutthroat one between the two of us. Like when we get into things. But during the race, she was like, do it. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Like, she's really okay. So I just think seeing her, I know she's cutthroat, but like she's also your mom. So I don't see her as, in that way always. And so like on being on the same team and like having her be like cutthroat to another team, I was like, okay, got it. We are U-turning.
Is there anything else that happened out on the race that you wish that we would have seen at home?
Yeah, I wish on that episode in Bulgaria, several of us had trouble finding the reverse on those cars because it was different. I mean, I've driven lots of stick cars, but it was just different of how you had to find reverse. So by the library, I got parked and there was another car came, so I wasn't able to just zip around. I had to put it in reverse and I couldn't get it in reverse. So she pushed us out of the parking. I'm like, okay, you let the people in the mud, let the locals pull them out, show that she pushed us out. I was kind of sad that they didn't care that she really got us out of the jam.
It was very funny. Trying to think anything else that like really missed, but I don't think there was. I think it was just really fun to get to watch all the way
Well,
through and
to think when we were doing the coconuts and I hadn't slept. There's several times that I didn't sleep at night because I don't sleep well. And so it was exhausting and it was hot, it was physical, and we're there by the coconuts and she was trying to stack or do whatever and trying to shake them off. I think I was a little bit
on the book.
dehydrated and crazy. And so we had a little tag where like, figure it out was like, let's eat some chocolate because I eat chocolate after every meal or I have to have chocolate every day.
Mm-hmm.
Chocolate with this. So we had the tagline, Mom, just eat some chocolate. So the boys, Nick and Mike said that they just died laughing because I was completely disoriented. And Erica just kept saying, Mom, eat some chocolate. Mom, eat some chocolate. And they're like, this is so,
literally
we were comical to them.
Because you had to stack them. And even before we did the challenge, I was like, stacking watermelons is miserable. I don't want to stack coconuts. And so you had to stack 30 of them. And I was like, eat some chocolate. And I would just tell her to count the coconuts. So you actually hear it kind of in the background. She's just counting 1, 2. So she just kept counting 30 over and over and over. And I was stacking the coconuts. And I'm like running back for them. I'm like, eat some chocolate, count the coconuts. And that's like the whole experience that was. It was so funny. I do wish they had gotten that. That's funny.
I was very overheated.
Well, it was, I mean, you saw people half your age falling over from the heat that day. That was a crazy day.
Yeah, she absolutely killed that.
That's why I wasn't able to do the surfboard out into the water because our taxi dropped us in the wrong spot. And we basically went to Phil and found out we had to go all the way back, probably a mile to get to the roadblock. And by then I was wasted again. There was just no mental way I could have. Maybe I could have, but she killed it. She killed it every time. She just is the best partner to have. She was the best teammate. I was very blessed to have her.
Well, I love your bond. I love your energy. You were just a blast to watch. And I'm really glad that we got the opportunity to get to know you and that you made it this far.
Thank you.
Yeah, so please don't be strangers. Wish you all the best and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much. It was so great to meet you.
Thanks.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.